Greetings all, this is Justinian the Great. It's been a while, hasn't it? Anyway, with the recent news that Sony would be shutting down the PS Vita store in August, I thought that I'd take a look at some of the best games on the system. I'll be doing this for PS3 as well, since the PS3 store will be shutting down in July, but right now we'll be looking at the PS Vita. The Vita has a reputation for having quote-unquote no games, or it's given titles like the Persona 4 Golden Machine, the Visual Novel Machine, or the JRPG Machine, when the system actually had a lot of great games, many of which were actually outside of those niche genres typically associated with the Vita. Today, we're going to be looking at the top 10 best Vita games outside of the niche genres that the system is usually associated with. Number 10, the Sly Collection. One of the main reasons that I bought a PlayStation Vita in the first place. This is a collection of 3 of the best 3D action platformers from the PS2 era, remastered in beautiful HD. All 3 games are almost picture perfect compared to the PS3 HD remasters of the same games. The games themselves include a combination of platforming, action, stealth, minigames, some puzzles, mostly open world environments, great characters, a fantastic art style, and great stories to make for 3 of the best games ever made. A minor problem with the collection is that the physical version only has 1 and 2, which is still well worth the money, and the download code for 3 has expired, so the only way to get the 3rd game is to buy the collection digitally. The problem there is that the digital collection in its entirety is 6 gigabytes, which, for those who don't know, is a lot of space on a Vita memory card. Thankfully, the digital version of the collection comes as 3 separate downloads. I would recommend buying the physical to get 1 and 2, and the digital to get 3 to save the space on your Vita memory card. Fun fact, this was released in 2014, which was 3 years after the PS3 version was released, and a year after the 4th game was released, which makes this the final official release in the Sly Cooper series. Number 9, Assassin's Creed III Liberation. Voted the best Vita game at E3 in 2012, this game brings everything that's known and loved about the Assassin's Creed series to a handheld console. The open world, the action, the running across rooftops, the climbing, the stories, the settings, all of it is here. Of course, not everyone is into the Assassin's Creed series, and this game does have some frame rate and graphical issues, but it really isn't that bad. Yes, the HD remasters have worked out all of the technical issues, but this was the original game on its original console, and for its time, this was the best Assassin's Creed game that you could get on the go. Also worth noting is that the setting of Old New Orleans is one that I love, and that the protagonist, Evelyn, was the first female protagonist in the series. Number 8, Soul Sacrifice. This hardcore action RPG came at a time when the Vita really needed a great first-party title, and while this might not have been the killer app that everyone was looking for, this was a fantastic game nonetheless. It had a great story with twists and turns that really made the player feel the impact of their actions in the story. In the game, you are essentially the prisoner of a sorcerer, and you must learn his secrets in order to defeat him and free the world from his tyranny. The gameplay, while repetitive, is also great and is the center focus of the game. This is a grinding RPG, where you take on short missions that feel like they were built for the short bursts of gameplay desired from a handheld console. The combat is difficult to get the hang of thanks to each of your spells and/or attacks being limited to a certain amount of usage. This meant that you had to be strategic in how you played. Sort of like a Monster Hunter meets Dark Souls sort of thing. Anyway, while a lot of people may criticize me for putting the original version of this game and not the Delta version, they're both good games, and the standard version takes up less space, so that's why I chose the original. Number 7, Metal Gear Solid HD Collection. This collection includes 2 games that are widely considered to be some of the greatest of all time. Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, along with some bonus content, of course. This series was an innovator in its time for what is called the cinematic video game. Yes, it is still a video game and it still feels like playing a video game. But the characters, the settings, the stories, the humor, everything feels like a true cinematic experience that you get to be a part of. The gameplay itself is a mix of stealth and action with a major emphasis on the stealth side. The games can be difficult and the controls can take a little while to get used to, but I would still say that this collection is great for either veterans of the series or newcomers who want to see what all of the hype surrounding this series is all about. Number 6. Little Big Planet PS Vita. Imagine having a brand new console quality Little Big Planet experience that you could take with you anywhere you go. That's exactly what you'll get from Little Big Planet PS Vita. I've heard many say that this is the best game in the series, and after playing it for a little while, I can't disagree with that statement. It's fun, it utilizes the Vita's unique features in a cool and creative way. It includes a great story mode and a great community section for levels created by other players, as well as multiplayer and the ability to create your own levels. This is the closest thing to Mario Maker you'll ever find on the PS Vita, and I would dare to say that it may actually be better than Mario Maker. I feel like the game is often ignored by people as they think it's overrated. As a result, the game just isn't talked about much anymore. If anything, this game is underrated, and you should definitely give this game a shot. Number 5. Wipeout 2048. This game is a true testament to what the Vita was capable of technically. This game is graphically impressive, and the fact that the frame rate stays for the most part consistent throughout the intense action sequences in this game is truly a spectacle. On top of this, the gameplay is great. Wipeout, for those who don't know, is a futuristic anti-gravity racing series that's full of breakneck speeds, competitive events, and a variety of game modes. Wipeout 2048 has all of this. While the online multiplayer is no longer with us, the variety of game modes in the campaign should be enough to make the game a worthwhile purchase. Wipeout 2048 is hands down the best racing game on the Vita, and possibly the best racing game ever put out on a handheld until the Switch was released. Number 4. Killzone Mercenary. This is probably the most complete first-person shooter on the PS Vita, as it is the only one to have both a great campaign and a great online multiplayer component. Heck, one of the DLCs for this game even provides a great simulation of the online multiplayer for whenever you can't find other people online to play with, or whenever the servers are finally shut down. Anyway, like Wipeout 2048, this game is graphically impressive and shows off what the Vita was capable of when placed in the hands of a dev that actually knew what they were doing. The game itself has a good story with some good twists along the way. The gameplay is also fantastic, and is probably the smoothest playing FPS game on the PS Vita. The weapons dealer and the ability to replay the different missions with different goals provides added fun and replay value to an already amazing experience. Killzone Mercenary, in my opinion, is the best FPS game released on a handheld to this day. Number 3. Tearaway. This game is often overlooked, but Media Molecule's next project after the Little Big Planet series is, perhaps, the best game that they've made. This colorful 3D platformer creates a lovable game world that you, the player, are part of. The gameplay utilizes all of the Vita's unique functions in the best possible ways on top of being an already great 3D platformer. The story is fun, but can get emotional at times. There really isn't much else that can be said about this game. It's the best platforming game on the Vita. End of story. Number 2. Uncharted Golden Abyss. Since the release of the first Uncharted on PS3 back in 2007, the franchise has pretty much become for PlayStation what Halo is to Xbox. So why not have an all-new, fully fledged Uncharted on the new PlayStation handheld? Enter Uncharted Golden Abyss. Everything that was great about the console games, the climbing, the traversing, the cover shooting, the characters, the stories, etc., are here with new interactive puzzles and ideas to take full advantage of all of the Vita's unique functionality. Some, of course, work better than others, but none of the new ideas are bad. The graphics and gameplay are on par with the console games. In fact, this game arguably exceeds the first game in every way imaginable. If we're being honest, this is the best that anyone could have asked for from a portable Uncharted game. Number 1. Gravity Rush. This game is for the PlayStation Vita what The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is for the Switch. It has an expanding open-world environment, optional side missions and challenges, the unique art style, and one of the freshest and most fun gameplay styles that I've ever encountered in a video game since the Sly Cooper series debuted on the PS2. The Adventures of Cat, a girl whose pet feline gives her the ability to shift gravity planes and fly through the air through the city of Hexville, in my objective opinion, will always be the very best game that the Vita has to offer. The combat may take a minute to get used to, but it's really fun once you get the hang of it. This may not be the most graphically impressive Vita game, but the rest of it more than makes up for that, to the point to where I would consider this to be the single greatest Vita game. Well, that's my list of the top 10 Vita games that fall outside of the niche genres that the Vita is usually associated with. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel. Also, if you like the music in this video, please check the link in the description to my music channel. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you guys later.